Actually, beer is the answer.
Well, as Homer Simpson says, what does he say? Alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Perfect. Homer knows best.
Jon Brion, what do you think of? This is a quick fire thing. You can answer with
Can I
short,
answer
long.
slow fire?
What do you think of music?
I think it's a very nice thing. I think it generally helps and doesn't harm. I think it's a fine thing for all of society, unless of course it's bad music, and in which case it does irreparable harm and you lose time you never get back, and playing it is usually nothing but a pleasure. I can answer personally for myself, it's generally been a lifesaver, and it's right up there with food in terms of really good things.
What do you think of Nickelback?
Pass?
What do you think of the Hadron Collider?
I laugh because it went straight over my head. So what I think about it is, it's something I don't know about.
At least you know of it.
I'd really love to be able to throw down in a, Einstein-like way on it, but as for now, it's just a bunch of syllables.
What do you think of religion?
Well, it seems like everybody's got to have something or other. The enormity of life is such, and the smallness of our brains is such, that we can't keep the whole picture in our head at any one time. And for some people, that makes them very irritable, neurotic, afraid. The not knowing seems to really drive people bonkers. And they just have to have some answer so they can then go, oh, good, I don't have to think about that. There's a fierce, judgmental God, so I act this way and it's cool. Since the whole picture is too much for any of us to take, we kind of hold up this, card with shapes cut in it that we can accept and deal with. And that's basically what we're letting in. And I kind of feel like religion is very much a version of that. I don't begrudge anyone their beliefs, because each one of us has to limit how much input we get. And it's just one way of calming the system so you can concentrate on, what you've actually chosen is important to you.
Great. Good answer. Wow. What do you think of Brian Eno?
The opposite of Nickelback. I could actually go on about.
So you're not a fan?
Yeah, that Brian Eno, all those records stolen a lot of hours of my life. I think he is the most influential artist since the Beatles. And like the Beatles, there's this thing with the Beatle records where you could look at individual songs and go, God, that spawned a whole music movement. Like, there's so many bands that came out of this one song. It was just one day of their lives. They wrote it, they recorded the damn thing, and then it was, for them, it was gone. And for the rest of us, it was, wow, that's a door into another place. And Brian Eno, I think, is the only artist who has done the same thing, that his inquisitiveness has caused him to recombine things to the point where he's created windows into a world, and that's the satisfying part to him. But you can just look at any number of artists who you could look at one Eno song and go, well, that predates Devo by 5 years. And there are any number of post-punk bands that I think you could trace to an individual song of Brian Eno's. I don't think there are too many close comparisons, because you could take somebody like, Kevin Shields, who I love, and, Loveless was one of these records that's absolutely, credited as, spawning a ton of bands. And, I can look at Here Come the Warm Jets. I can look at that song on the very first Eno solo record when I left Roxy and go, well, God, there's waves of distortion, and the drums when they come in have this real weird small thing against the giantness of the guitars, and he was living in that world for a long time. Christ, I almost think we should just go make a documentary, to make people fully appreciate the breadth of Brian Eno's work. So
Well, it was quite
that's
a
the
good
nutshell
question then.
version.
What do you think of coffee?
I think even more of coffee than I do of Brian Eno. I won't go on as long about it because, I actually love it too much. It would be dangerous. I'd like, the only reason there's not a restraining order against me from coffee is because coffee says yes every time I make it.
What do you think of Kanye West?
I think he's a very talented, unique guy working in the sphere he's working in. I think the most interesting parts of him are the parts where he bucks the conventions of hip-hop. That's always been the stuff that's been the most interesting. For instance, any of the things he's done where he's not boasting and he's what I call on topic. And he's talking about something specific as opposed to, acquisition of money or clothes or whatever. And all of that stuff does a real service because, for the past 20 years, hip-hop in general has been where a lot of the inventiveness has been in record making, but there hasn't been inventiveness in the lyrics, though there is cleverness. There's not inventiveness because the subject matter is always generally the same. It's the same subject matter as, a lot of blues songs. It's, I'm great, I'm better than other people. You are lucky if you get me in bed because I'm fantastic.
Sorry, are we still referring to hip hop or are you?
All the Muddy Water songs are that. So in truth, that's not where the originality lies. I mean, I prefer the Kanye of Jesus Walks, and there's a song called Roses, which is an album cut of his, about a family member being sick and him going to the hospital and the nurse coming in while the family's around the bed and they're not sure if the family member is going to make it, and a nurse comes in asking him to sign a t-shirt. And it's so matter-of-fact and direct. That's the stuff where I feel like he brings something to the table.
Most important and final question. What do you think of Keane?
They're up there with coffee. I'm thinking like, getting a cappuccino in the north of Italy. That's Keane.
You don't need to say any more.
In fact, let's get the fuck over to Italy.
Jon Brion, thank you for appearing on What Do You Think Of?
My pleasure.
Woohoo!